Hi guys, and welcome to Desi Dutch. This is your host Amjay reporting to you with day 12. I'm so sorry I couldn't be here for day 11. I got preoccupied with some stuff, so that was missed. But today we're back, and we are across the continent in Canada today. So today I have a guest from Toronto. Muizz Kazmi is here with me today. And I just want to know how Canada is doing with the whole lockdown. Muizz is a really good friend of mine I met in those university days, and he's been in Canada for a few years now. So, Muiz, welcome to Desi Dutch.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hey, hello Amjre. Kaisa hai bhai tu?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
And by the way, we know each other before uni as well. Nixers.
Yes, we do know
Yes.
if it's from
Oops, you
university.
forgot already.
I
Oh,
did not
can I see?
forget. I did not
Like,
forget, but,
see?
but because of Swas, it's very blurry of what's happening in in Nixer days because he doesn't consider me a friend from.
So he shadow my memories with you. Okay, I get it.
Hey, wouldn't you feel sad if I tell you, hey, we weren't friends from Nixer? That's how I feel when Swas
Bro, I
talks to
used
me.
to borrow your car. Okay, let me
Exactly.
put it that way.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so Muiz, how you handling it? You told me right now that you've been in lockdown for almost 12 days. So as far as long
Yeah,
as
something around that. I'd say 12 to 13 days now because
y-
I haven't been out for that long and I don't know how long it has been. That's why.
yeah,
And I uh, shopped for my grocery like in bulk before that, so I haven't even gone out for grocery yet.
so
And
you
honestly, I'm enjoying this lockdown self-isolation thing. I don't have to meet people and away from all that drama and all that. I shouldn't say that it's a good thing, but I'd prefer this for another month, I'd say. But
yeah, but
that's a
that's
very bad thing to say, I feel like, but koi nahi.
I do get what you mean because the thing is, usually in the start, it really feels exciting. It's always one or the other, right? Either you're completely terrified and then you normalize yourself, or you're completely excited, then it starts to feel like less exciting. So you're at that phase that you're still enjoying it. I'm frankly still enjoying it. I love it. I'm working from home. I get to do my online courses. I get to chat with some people. Me and Ahmed play football manager the whole time, so I'm loving it. It's not really that bad for me, but I keep myself occupied with these stuff. So what do you keep yourself occupied with?
Acha, so in the beginning, I bought a PS4 just for this isolation actually. So
Yeah.
in the beginning, I was like hooked onto it, Call of Duty and all that shit. And there came a point that I was like, I should stop playing PS at least and do something else. So I started shows on Netflix. Then I started joining my friends on podcasts, live sessions, and
Yeah.
all that shit. And about that, and just eating and sleeping, I guess. Talking to friends, like I've caught up to so many friends that I haven't talked to for so long. So that's a good thing too.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to actually, sit back and reflect on what I have to do in the future. Actually, yeah.
Oh, that now that's something I really like. So let's try to zoom in on that. So self-reflection and really becoming aware of what you're doing in life is something really important to me. I talk about this in every episode. So how are you doing that? How is your self-reflection going? You're liking to be alone with your thoughts?
I feel like I've wasted too much time already in this quarantine. But yeah, that's one thing. People feel like they should be doing something in this quarantine. They should be productive. They should be learning something. I feel like just everyone just take a break. Like it's okay to be lazy for a while. It's okay to rest for a while. Give yourself a break. Like you got a chance, just do it. But people out there, some of them really want to do something productive or something like that. Of course, go ahead. I'm one of those. I feel like I don't want to waste all those days. I've wasted days already, so I need to start something now. So I've actually started learning a new language, and on my list I already have Turkish. I'm making that even stronger now. Like I'm perfecting that, and I started Spanish yesterday.
Spanish. Oh, that's
Yesterday.
it. Well, but Spanish is more like a language for like people in the US because there's a lot of dominance there. Wouldn't you in Canada prefer French?
I know, but I was watching Money Heist and Narcos and all that, right? So I was like, that's nice thing. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm also preoccupied with the amount of languages I'm learning. There's Dutch, there's Farsi, Persian, and there's a little bit of Arabic going on there because I hang out with a
Harsh.
lot uh, Farsi because that's the language I would love to learn about because a lot of good friends of mine speak Farsi. So for them, I really want to learn the language.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
So like zooming in on what we just talked about, you said something really important there. it's okay to be lazy, it's okay to do nothing, right?
Yeah,
Boredom is important. And I think you really had a good point there, because people are always trying to do something productive because they're trying to distract themselves, right?
yeah.
It's quite obvious. I talked to a lot of people. I talked to the other day with Ariba, and she also said the same thing, that she cannot sit alone, so that's why she's coming up with causes and causes and things to do all the time, distract herself. People are really really active on social media because they're so bored with the amount of shitty games that people are coming up with. Like, we just saw a quiz in our group about name that country, for God's sake. So these kind of
I
things.
named the most. Okay, haha.
So these kind of things is just to distract yourself from the impending thought behind your head, is the fact that you cannot sit in silence, or you cannot sit alone. What do you think about that? Do you think
Yeah, I feel like our background, like the way we've been brought up in Karachi, like we're so social that we need to go out every now and then, even if it's 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock at night. We just go out, like like when we were back in Pakistan, even in December, like we used to sit till like 3 or 4 in the morning, and no one cared. Like we want to be out of the house. Our parents just tell us that she claims. I mean, she accuses me that I just come home just to sleep, basically. So I'm using my home as a hotel bed. So like that's something what we get accused of in Karachi. And me being such a social freak, being captivated in a house in one place was, I thought, would have been very difficult. But I feel like it's a break for me, and I'm actually liking this. And before this isolation, I was organizing events that I was meeting around 300 people like every now and then. So I was scared about that too, because if I had corona, all of them were screwed.
yeah.
And like I'm glad that nothing showed up. Mashallah, I'm still fine. So I'm glad that I wasn't the case if anyone was affected over there. And away from people, away from all the distractions, I have time to just think about myself and like, rest and peacefully just sleep now. So far so good, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's something in due time. That's the whole point of the podcast. Of course, I do not want everyone to come again and like repeat the same stories after a few days, because then it's not like a social experiment. But of course, at the end of the lockdown, really close to the end, I really would want to invite everybody. That's an idea gave by a friend of mine on the show, and he said that bring everybody in for one final podcast and talk to everybody how their lockdown has been. And so that would be really amazing to see how long this daily series lasts. If we have 30, 40, 50 guests, all of them tuning in at the same time, it's gonna be
Yeah,
hell.
you're gonna run out of cities, bro. I mean, this lockdown is gonna be for a while.
Yeah, that's why I went for cities and not for countries, because maybe I can still hit the same country again if I can just find someone else. I have planned for someone here in the Netherlands tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, so that I can still stay in the same area. Because if you go for countries, then it's only 120, 200 something countries, and not I do not know everyone in every country. So there is going to be a time when this podcast is going to be running out of ideas, but till then, what I want to do is just want to keep in check with everybody. So the whole point of this is to understand how Muizz is doing, and you're saying you're doing really well. So I'll try to turn the conversation now towards the other thing that I really like to talk about in this podcast is how Pakistan is doing. So because people, most of us at least, who are living abroad do have family back home, and I think in your case as well, I think your father's still back home.
Yeah, my mom is there too, and my
your mom
sister.
your mom and your sister are also there. So knowing
Yeah.
how everything is happening in a country like Canada, where social distancing has been taken really strict, and they're trying to convince you and everything, and then you see how Pakistan is doing, and your family is there, and sitting in Canada, you really cannot do anything about it. So how are you feeling about that? Does your mind wander, like you get scared about that?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm extremely, extremely scared. Um, like माँ बाप को कौन समझाए. So
Yeah.
my dad was in quarantine basically because his office got shut down, but he's back in office again, and he can't take days off because he's in government service, and basically he's in a position where if he doesn't show up, then like some of the departments in the company won't like operate basically.
Yes.
So he has to go every now and then, and his main thing is that he's in customer service, so like people come up to him and meet him. So that's what scares my family at the point. Like he's meeting so many people at the time, but I don't know what and he's probably taking precautions too. Like he's
Yes.
not too like he is probably taking precaution,
Yeah.
but still, like he's going to the office, he's going in the area. It must be anything. So that's why we're scared. On top, he has some medical condition that might be very dangerous for him. So that's why, as a son and away from him, I am kind of scared. ऊपर से my mom, I told her not to call the servants over, मासियाँ जो आती हैं and everything.
Yes.
So she's like, oh, घर कौन साफ करेगा? And I'm like, Mama.
I've been talking about that in the podcast a lot. It's very difficult to convince our people that you can live without a maid. It's very difficult, right? It's very even my
You can
mom.
convince people, you can't convince your mom, man. You can't convince your
But
mom.
that's the biggest thing you have to convince. My mom is the one you have to convince, or you most of the time, and she's not really used to it. Even my mom, my mom, my mom goes for the numbers game. she says no, she's not coming daily. All right, we don't
Yeah,
want to
that's
get
what she
to
said to me. She's
her.
like, she's coming after every 4 days. I'm like, Mama.
I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. Mom goes like, she's not here daily. We're not gonna get infected. She only comes once or twice a week, so it's okay. I'm like, Mom, even twice a week, if she has the virus, she comes and she touches your cutlery, she touches your kitchen, you touch it, you get it, even if it's after 4 days. She's like, yeah, but I cannot clean every day. I'm really old. I'm like, tell her boss to clean, tell Aish to clean, tell other people to clean. She's like, you know how guys are. They're lazy. I'm not gonna do this. They're not gonna do this. So what's the
The
point?
excuse I get is basically she's like, oh, I asked her to take a shower before coming. I'm like, okay. And then when she comes in, she sprays a Dettol water on her. I'm like, okay. And then she's like, she does all the work with gloves on and a mask on. I'm like, Mama, her clothes can have something that can touch something at the whole house. Okay, like,
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, it's also a really difficult scenario. For example, if you look at from the other side, right? You're thinking from the perspective that, yeah, no, I just want you to be clean so that our house doesn't get infected. But they imagine how you would be feeling, Moise, if you have to go to work and you show up at work and your employer is like, hey, wait, before entering, spray this on yourself. And where am I? And can you take a shower right now in front of me? Or for example, anything. It's also very difficult for you to understand. Even if you know, being an educated person, you would know, okay, I know these are just precautions. I still don't feel nice. Why can't I just not work for this period of time, right? So like sometimes it's also these other sides of the place that we don't consider. That what are they thinking at this point in time, right? Because
I know that.
yeah,
That's what I talked to my mom about too. I'm like, you asking her to, like spraying all these things. Does she feel nice?
yeah,
How much like she's
exactly.
understanding? I'm like,
Yeah,
why is the need? Why is the need?
yeah, and you can't blame them, to be honest. You can't blame moms, you cannot blame our society, and you can just hope that the people who are being subjected to this are also comfortable enough to understand, yeah, this is just a need and it's not something bad. Because in the fear of a pandemic, it's very difficult to explain logic to people, right? It's not just about this. Like there was a case in Punjab which I always refer to. These people came from Iran, from ziyarat, and they were all positive. So the army showed up there at their houses, and their family members lied to the army. They were like, no, there's no such case, there's no such case, they're not doing anything like that, they're not here, they're not positive, I don't know, they haven't returned from ziyarat yet. All of them ran away to different villages and different places, right? Because they're scared of being tested positive. They're like, we don't know what the government is going to do. They're nothing, that they're not going to do anything. They're just going to take you somewhere so that you don't infect other people. But when there's a pandemic going on, people really do not listen to reason. And that's where the whole toilet paper thing also happens in developed countries, right? They don't
Yeah,
listen
that was funny, bro.
to
That was funny.
yeah. Same concept. Why do you think people just go crazy? They were like, you know what, we want to bulk up on toilet paper, we want to bulk up on anything. Like with your case, you also bulked up, right? But
On meat, only
yeah,
on meat.
yeah, but you did bulk up, but isn't the store still open?
I mean, there, but the thing is, I can't go out. Like,
Yeah,
for anything, my brother can't drive, and like, I have asthma. So if I
yeah.
go out and I catch something, I'll die in 2 hours, bro.
Yeah, that sometimes it's applicable, right? But the point is that sometimes it can be also like there are other ways as well. Like you have your brother who can walk around a little bit, and in your case it's going to be justified as well, right? But that's the thing, like here in Holland, stores are open. Stores are always open. There's no problem. Everyone in the stores is wearing gloves. They're wearing masks. When you enter, they ask you to show your hands, and they throw the hand sanitizer or Dettol on your hands, and then you wipe them up, and then you go into the store. Yeah, they
Nah,
really
yeah,
care.
it's not that serious over here, though. But I mean, I've been to the store to get water or something, even in between. Uh, it is like people are like taking precautions that only one person from the family is coming at least. So not the whole family is joining in the
Yeah.
superstore. And they've put restrictions on buying water, eggs, milk, and all. So you can only get one per one
Family
transaction.
member. Yeah.
So that, I mean, the shelves don't empty out now.
Yeah, exactly. These are the ways to control, right? So here as well, like they're trying to keep it really calm. But here, Northern Europeans are relatively more calm. They just do not care. They're all okay with it. They're like, you know what, we're just gonna go to get. The only thing that's missing in the whole store is just toilet paper. To be honest,
I don't care,
Every-
man. I mean, actually, I'm so happy we don't care about that, bro.
dude, I have a bidet in my bathroom. That's the first thing I installed here. I don't have a problem with anything at all. I have a Muslim shower. I'm perfectly fine. But it's just amazing to see that the toilet paper is the only shelf which is empty in the store because just people just go crazy over it every single time. But yeah, moving back our conversation to what we were talking about. So your family is there, you're here, you feel utterly powerless sometimes, right? So how are you coping with it? I know you're scared, I know you're like sometimes you're confused, but being alone and just being worried constantly about your family, does that take a toll on you? Do you find ways to cope with it?
Man, to be honest, like from my experience, I've learned like if there's nothing, if it's not in my control, I shouldn't worry about it. Like there's no point in worrying. So I was given up. Like okay, hona hoga ho jayega, and it doesn't. Okay, I can just pray. Like I can't tell my mom to not call the maid. I can't tell my dad not to go to work. They're not gonna listen. So I'm like, okay, like,
Yeah, then
just
let's
talk
see.
to me as long as we can talk to each other. Like
I
astaghfirullah.
no, I get it. I get it. It's a very it's exactly how I feel. It's a very stoic way of perceiving life because if something is not in your control, it's not in your control, and you can't really worry about it because it's like, what can you do, right? Uh, we're trying our best. I'm calling you every day. I'm asking you not to call the maid. Other than that, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
I can try to emotionally blackmail you. I can try to be mad at you, but that's the worst thing to do in this quarantine time because you're always alone, and negative emotions are the worst thing to take out at this point in time. You know,
Yeah,
family.
that's what I've seen from my friends too.
Yeah.
Like a couple of my friends have been tested positive in Karachi.
Mm.
There was only one before, but there are a couple now, and none of them have symptoms so far, and they all tested positive. And the only thing those friends have told me that the ones with like a very positive mentality, they're actually feeling better. They're like, okay, like they had some like fear in them, and like they were trying to like they were feeling a little sick, but because of the positivity and mental optimism, they are actually feeling better now. And the ones who are like, oh, we don't see any symptoms, is it going to get worse? Is it going to get worse? It's getting worse for them actually.
Yeah, and I don't know. There might be a little bit science backing this in general, but because we don't have much to do
Or
about COVID.
emotional contagion, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but I do completely believe in the fact that your mental positivity or your mental state really is in tandem with your immune system. If you try to be more
That's
positive,
different.
your immune system really is better. But yeah, this is something we can really talk about. You just mentioned it. A lot of your friends are being tested positive. I knew a few of them.
In Karachi, repeat
Yeah,
that, bro. Not in Toronto.
in Karachi, a lot of your friends are being
Yeah.
tested positive. You heard about this. Swas also got panicked about this and stayed at home for 3 days or 2 days. He couldn't
Wow,
manage.
stayed at home, man. Wow.
Not just that, for 2 days, he stayed in his room. He was like, no, no, it's so serious. My family, I'm so scared and everything. After 2 days, I saw him making videos of his sister, teasing her and everything, his little sister. And I'm like, what happened to staying at home and no touching? And he's like, man, I can't do this anymore. There's too much for me. If it happens, it happens. So, how
Man,
are
the
they?
virus is gonna go free like crazy by touching him. Like, I mean,
So, how are they doing? Have you caught up with them? How is their families handling it? How are they handling it with their own quarantine?
so basically, one of my friend, like you know her too. I don't know if I should take her name, but
Yeah.
anyways, she got tested positive. She had no symptoms, but she was freaking out that she had been meeting a lot of people, so
Mm.
she got it tested, and then her mom got it tested, and they both came out positive.
Yeah.
So they both locked down in their rooms right now. And the other friends, they actually were feeling sick and they got tested, but they didn't have any symptoms like they came on the list like dry cough,
Yeah.
fever, or throat infection or whatever. They're just feeling sick, like there's something weird about them.
Yeah.
So this is got tested, and they turned out positive as well.
Uh,
So right now they're like, we're not in a bad situation. We're coping up with it. We're locked down in our rooms. We're just video calling and talking to everyone. That's all they can do, I guess.
yeah. So okay, so like then let's go to the like for me these are like important questions. So there's a lot of ease with social media and internet helping us out in quarantine, right? Or else we would have gone crazy by now. But how are you doing with your social media usage? Are you coming up with innovative ways to entertain yourself, or is it just more like message me if about this, like for this, or like how are you using it if you're using social media to like have some social contact.
So I feel like all these challenges that were coming up, they're basically for people to not get bored.
Yeah,
And I, on this other side, wasn't bored at all anyway. So
yeah.
I didn't even reply to them. So I got tagged into so many challenges. I was like, okay, you bored, I'm not. So I didn't reply to it. What I started doing was basically any of my friends that goes live on Instagram or something, or
Yeah,
you one of my friends who started a podcast, and there's another friend of mine in Hong Kong who started a podcast. So I basically started joining them to have a conversation, to talk about things. Like that's completely different. That's a one-time thing as well.
yeah,
So I feel like that's more fun, and simply not just like having a challenge and tagging people as like so mundane, I'd say. So I'd rather do like join people on podcasts and like live sessions and everything. And I've been joining my friend from Vancouver. He's a vlogger actually, and he's been going live for 2-3 days. So I've been joining him on
yeah.
Instagram. So that's about it on social media for me.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you played some games, Call of Duty and everything, and then you moved on to Netflix and you're watching some shows. So what are you watching these days?
I finished Money Heist in 4 days, so I'm
Uh,
waiting for the new season now.
it's gonna be
And
out
I'm
in
not
few
starting
days.
anything more because if I start something, then that's another addiction, bro.
Yeah, I get that. And so you're still at Money Heist, and you're not watching anything else.
Nah, bro, I'm not that big of a fan of shows anyway. So I felt like my dad used to watch Money Heist, and like people told me that Money Heist is my type. So I was like, okay, let's see.
Yeah, all right, interesting. And finally, like, do you have any
And I
recommendation?
want to say
Yeah.
something. People who like Office are lame. Yeah, I want to make that clear. And Christian
No,
people who like Office are lame.
I'll push back to you.
They have very dry jokes, and it's not funny at all.
Yeah, but maybe that's the charm of The Office, right? It's supposed to be dry, right? It's like a lot of people who don't like Friends.
Office and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If you want to hate me, go hate me. I don't care, but they are stupid. Those shows are stupid.
Yeah, I'll push back on Brooklyn Nine-Nine per se because I've watched that as well. I've watched Friends as well. I watched Office as well. Office, yes, maybe it's a little bit dry, but not for, I like anything to be honest. So Brooklyn Nine-Nine for me has been fun, but yeah, for me Friends has been number one. But there are a lot of people who don't like Friends either. They consider that
नहीं
cheesy.
फ्रेंड्स तो जान है.
Yeah, exactly. But the funny part is, a lot of people who prefer Brooklyn Nine-Nine or The Office are not big fans of Friends.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
It's like either or. I don't know why it's either or. It could be together. Like I've watched all three of them at a certain point and I enjoyed it. But yeah, my go-to has always been Friends. It's much more fun for me.
I feel like how many shows have you finished on Netflix? Like full shows
Since quarantine,
ever?
no, ever. I think it's. I don't know. I don't keep count because what I do is basically in my normal routine.
For me, it's just 4 or 5 basic. 5, I'd say.
Five.
Imagine.
But then I watch like I'd watch at least half an hour of TV every day. Uh,
Nah, bro, that's the thing. Like, I can't get addicted. I get
yeah.
addicted to these too much. That's why I don't even watch them.
No, it's not addiction. Like for me, it's 30 minutes. So either I don't like spend my days if I'm alone, like if it's a weekend or I have no plans or like quarantine, then I watch more shows. But in general,
And
when
I
I have
haven't watched Game of Thrones, so hate me on that too if you want.
I haven't either yet. But it is on my
Oh,
bucket
chalo
list.
shukar.
I haven't either, but it's on my bucket list. So because I was waiting for it to end. Once the hype is all over and everything, then I'm gonna watch the
Yeah.
whole series in peace. And it's over now, so I probably will put it on download anytime soon. But yeah, so any other recommendations you have for people who are in quarantine? You think because you're having a very positive experience, there are a lot of people who might not be having a positive experience. They might be too bored, too worried, too anxious. Any recommendations from you? Maybe some shows, maybe some advice, or maybe something you're listening to, because there's only certain amount of things you can do, frankly, right? If you're not watching shows, if you're not on social media, you're not reading, you're not doing something, well, I mean, there are only 5 or 6 things you can do, it according to me at least. So if you're doing any of those, or if you want any one of those to be recommended, please go ahead.
Honestly, I'll go back on my point. Basically, uh, people who feel like they should be doing something, like who are anxious about this, they should take a break. Like, just relax, bro. You've been gifted this vacation. Like, in a way, just stay home and sleep. I've had my friends talk to me and they're like, "Oh, we're so bored. Like, I don't want to waste this part of my life and everything." So I was like, "Bro, I mean, you don't have to. Everyone, like, is goes on their own time. Like, you just relax and you can start being productive from next month onwards, basically. So if this, like, the lockdown takes, like, finishes or something.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, my friend, she works at a bank in Toronto. She still doesn't have days off. She
Yeah.
has to go to her work every now and then, like every
Yeah.
day, normal office hours and everything. So there are people who are still going to work though,
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
taking, like, people who go to hospital, Walmart, banks, they're still going to work every day. For people who don't, I mean, who are sitting at home, if you really want to be productive, this is what I was doing in the past 2 days. I was thinking of earning money by sitting at home
Yeah.
with the restrictions we have these days. So we can't have a job right now.
Yeah.
I can't be a delivery boy
Yeah.
because those companies aren't hiring anymore. So this is what I was going through. What should I do? And the easiest way is to be a YouTuber or a vlogger or something. But to reach that point is a very big line.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
a
Of
very big way.
course. I don't think that's difficult.
So if I have to leave them with a question, like, think of a way that you can earn money by sitting at home, and if you can come up with one, you should start doing that and start telling people about it. So you're gonna gain popularity over that too.
Yeah. But what, like here the question is,
For me, I've been playing PS. I've been talking to my family every now and then. People who I haven't talked to in a while, I just go through my friend list. Oh, I haven't talked to him in a while. Just call him up.
yeah.
And I really want to start a book, but I don't have the book yet. So next time I go for grocery, I'm going to buy that too. And bas abhi tak to ye, and I was waiting for this podcast to happen. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like some of the things, some of the people are really thinking about the money aspect of it, as you've put. Some of the people are just like generally like it is. I really like your point about saying that it's a break. Yeah, it does feel like a break, but some people just generally do not feel, as I said, at ease with their boredom. So people pick up like online courses or like mindfulness. Like
That too, that too, that too. My
I'm a big
dad sent me that because he wants me to be productive. So I was like, okay,
yeah,
I'll
my
take it.
game is going strong, you know. Like I take an online course every month. So right now I'm doing an online course. I do my meditation every day. I work out.
Meditation?
Yeah, yeah, you know me, I'm a big fan of mindfulness meditation. I meditate every day. It really keeps me at check with my emotions and how I feel about this, because if you're alone all the time with your thoughts and everything, meditation is a very, very nice way of you feeling like at ease with yourself. I would consider that as a I would recommend that to you if you haven't done that before. It really does help. And for me, as I said, for me, being bored is not an issue. But I would rather prefer to, as you said, it's not about productivity for me. It's about me satiating my curiosity. I love to learn something. So what
Yeah.
I started recently is gardening. So I have three pots outside in my balcony, and I was like, you know what? I always wanted to have a garden of herbs. So I bought basil, I bought mint, and I
कौन
bought
से herbs जरा
coriander.
बताना?
Basil, coriander, and herb,
Okay,
and mint,
okay, okay,
right? So I bought
okay,
them,
okay, okay.
I repotted them, and then
In
I
Netherlands, you're growing herbs and okay, okay, I get it, I get it.
no, no, but those are
Basil. Oh
genuinely
yeah, yeah, yeah. Coriander, yeah, yeah.
genuinely they're these herbs, because you know me, like I love cooking. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make some pastas. I need some herbs. So I made this, and sadly, it's been just one day, and my basil is already dying. And I'm just like, why is it dying? I don't know. I'm putting water. It's the cold weather. What is it? I don't know.
That's a living thing you're killing. Okay, you're a murderer.
I
You can
know.
just sit back and sleep, but you're killing you. Oh my days.
Dude, you have to learn about this kind of stuff. Gardening is a trial and error. That's why I will have to, like, it's a learning curve. You have to take time. So gardening is a new hobby that I've picked up because I always wanted to do this, and why not do this right now in this time?
From that curve, I remember this joke. Where are all those people who said, "Oh, when are we going to use algebra in life?"
So now they know what about the flattening the curve, right?
Uh,
Well, Moise, it was wonderful talking to you. It feels like we've been catching up after a while, although we do message each other a lot on the groups. But it's always wonderful to just see each other's faces, have a conversation, and I
मोटा हो
think,
गया है,
huh?
मोटा हो गया है. Anyways, go on.
मैं पतला हो गया हूँ, ठीक है? I've been running 15 kilometers every week. What the fuck are you saying, man?
That's a go on, go on.
And on top of that, it's just that I always repeat this in the podcast, that I am taking this project of this daily series as also a way to reconnect with people. And like get to talk for someone with 20 minutes or something is a nice way to just catch up, understand how they're doing. And yeah, so I'm always available. If you always want to be in this podcast again, you can message me saying, hey, you know what, I have something interesting to share about my quarantine, and I'll always have you back on the show. I don't think I have enough guests for this lockdown anyways. So
As I next time if I do it, I'll do it from Vancouver then. If I end up going into Vancouver.
yeah, then we can do the city change.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Muizz, and I
Take
hope
care.
you have a good time. All
It was
right,
fun being over here. I hope
yeah,
your viewers like this podcast. So
I hope so
yeah,
too. Thank you.
take care.
And thank you all for listening. And this was day 12. And hopefully, I'll be here tomorrow for day 13. Thank you so much for listening. And I'll talk to you next time.